Hello, this is Holly from the Holly Jolly Life. Welcome to my humble home kitchen. I'm fixing to make Mexican rice and I wanted to show y'all how I do it. This recipe is not my own. I learned it from a lady, a dear sweet friend of mine from church. Her name is Miss Carmen. She's the one that taught me how to make Mexican rice. Actually, she had her son Dominic teach me how to make Mexican rice. Anyway, when he was in our youth group, I take on that recipe that she taught me. So, first things first. Oh yeah, we're going to need rice, 2 cups of rice, 4 cups of water. She used different kinds of chicken stock. I think she might have used liquid. I use this. This is my favorite. And they come in little tubs like this. And I'm getting ahead of myself because we're not ready for this part yet. They look gross. They look disgusting. I'm just gonna tell you that right off the bat. Don't be discouraged. They add so much flavor. Blah, 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 blah. They add so much flavor though. They really do. And we're going to need tomato paste. This was just, I made Mexican rice yesterday too, so. My kids love it. It's one of their favorite things that they make. You can use any kind of jalapenos. These are jalapenos from our garden that I canned myself. I made those and my husband grew them. My daughters picked them and I canned them. So that's a family effort. And we are going to need to put some oil in our pan, and I don't know how much to tell you because I just eyeball it. So I'm going to try to measure that real quick. And then I'm going to show you what the vegetables look like that are going to go in there after I chop them up. I'm not chopping up the jalapenos though because we just leave them big. This is my rice pot. Does anybody else have a pot that they like, one specific pot that they cook their stuff in? And I'm wearing gloves because I have eczema on my hands and I don't like to irritate it with tomatoes. Tomatoes specifically irritate my skin on my hands. So this is clean. It's just got water spots from the dishwasher. Don't you love that? This is sunflower and extra virgin olive oil. The perfect blend, it says. I think we got this at Aldi. I don't know how much oil to tell you to put in here. I always just cover the bottom of the pan. So let's see how much covering the bottom of the pan actually is. 6. Overflowing. Okay, I'm gonna stop at 6 because that's close enough to covering the bottom of the pan. What we're doing with this is before we start cooking our rice, we're gonna brown it kind of like you would do, I don't know, popcorn or something. You just cook it in oil and you coat it and you make sure it doesn't burn. It's not really gonna pop, but okay. So the bottom of the pan's nice and coated. There's a little extra. I use this. You can use whatever. This is really cold because we store our rice in the freezer. I don't know why, we just do. That happened. 1. 2. And I'll show you what I do with that in a minute. Get that out of the way. That's the measurement portion of the recipe. And the rest, we just wing in it. Okay. This is half of a large sweet onion because I don't like regular onions because they burn my eyes. And sweet onions don't make me cry. They're so much nicer to me. And I just cut the tops off. Yeah, that feels a little bit wasteful. So, about like that's the size we're going for. They'll shrink a little bit because they're going to be cooked. Please return to your assigned seats. Thank you. Okay, so that's the size we're going for on the tomatoes. And you don't need to watch me do this whole tomato, so I'll move on to the onion. That's about the size we're going for with onions. I don't know if you can see that. They're pretty small. And you can hold them up to my face. Doesn't make me cry. See how I'm not crying? Not crying. These are good ones. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and cut up the rest of these tomatoes. Okay, so I'm done chopping up the vegetables. This is the tomatoes. It's 2 Roma tomatoes, half of this a large sweet onion, and then this is, I don't know, probably about 1/3 to 1/2 cup of jalapeños. And I didn't chop them because people can pick them out if they don't like it too spicy. Okay, so let's go to the stove and get this started. I'm back at the stove, and I've got my rice and my oil here, and I'm going to turn the stove on, and I have a gas stove, so you don't want this to burn. That's, my oven says that flame is about a 4. So scooch over, bring you closer. That's my artisan bread rising back there. I'm just going to stir this up. Get all the little grains of rice coated in the oil. This step takes a while. I am going to talk to you a little bit more about the recipe. We're going to need garlic powder, and we're going to need turmeric. Turmeric's not for Mexican food. Don't worry about it. We're going to use it anyway. And we're going to need salt, and we measure salt with our heart. All this will be measured with our heart. Oh, and some black pepper, just in case the jalapenos aren't quite spicy enough. It's being saturated by the oil, and then it will turn more white in color, more opaque, and then it will get a toasted looking. Some pieces will have like a little brown on them, and some pieces will be tan. So we're waiting for all this to change color. It's sizzling, it's supposed to. You don't want to walk away from it whenever it's doing this, because it takes a really long time to get charred rice off of your pan, especially if you're using stainless steel like I am. I also use this method of frying the rice first whenever I make fried rice, and it really keeps your rice fluffy. Hi, I'm still here. It actually smells like popcorn a little bit. There's one piece that's done. Come back to me. See, that one piece is done. We want all of these pieces of rice to look like they had a great time at the beach and they got a great tan. I don't know how something so simple can smell so good, but it smells really good. It won't be long now. It's all really starting to turn that light tan color we're going for. my lighting is very good. Can you see? It's not quite as white as it was. It's not translucent anymore. It's more opaque now, and it's more tan or straw-like in color. Just about ready. And it's getting darker as we stir it. So that's how you know it's getting good and ready to be done. It feels like the texture of it changes whenever you're stirring it too. Yeah, so that's done. That's the tan color we're after. This is it. Now, remember this little thing that I said looked nasty? Plop that bad boy right in there. All of our tomatoes and onions and jalapenos. Okay. I've been making a lot of bread today, so you're gonna have to ignore the dishes in the sink. Or dressing for them if that's the thing that you do. It's fine. Alright, here's 1 cup of water. Yeah, makes a lot of noise. 2 cups of water. 3 cups of water. Now earlier I said I was going to do 4 cups of water, but I'm actually going to do 4.5 because we put a lot more vegetables in here. 4 cups of water. And 1/2 cup of water. Okay. Now we're going back to the stovetop. Flip you back around again. Okay, there we are. Now, so we've got the vegetables, the chicken broth thing, and jalapeno. I already said the vegetables and the rice and all that. Okay, and the browned rice. Now I'm gonna just sprinkle a loving amount of this. This is actually Aldi brand, but I really like that it comes in a plastic container instead of that paper one that you always have to, you know, stab the quick of your fingernail to get the little piece of metal out. And then, you know, if your counter's wet and you accidentally set that down, or you set it down next to a cup that's got ice in it, and you got the bottom of your paper all messed up. I hate those. So I'm so thankful that they put some in plastic. This is turmeric. We want this for color. It's got a lot of other health uses for it, but we just want it for color. It makes it pretty. And then this is garlic, and we want this for taste. And I really like a lot of garlic. So we just go around town. There you go. You do you. You decide how much garlic goes in your own rice. And then this is pepper, and I'm gonna sneeze after I do this. I know I will because I do it every time. I'm not sick. It's not the Rona. Okay. And then this is tomato paste that I used yesterday, and I just put the rest of the can in here so I didn't waste it. And I don't know how much this is, but that's how much I'm using. I don't like a really sweet tasting rice. I just want that for a little bit of richness, a little bit of flavor. You just mix it up, and you're going to cook this for 20 minutes with a lid on. You want it on like medium. You want to bring it to a boil and then turn it down to medium low to simmer the rest of the time that it's cooking. I'm bringing this to a boil before I put the lid on and turn it down to simmer, and then I'll set the timer. Okay, so I've stayed here with this whole time, and it's just starting to where I can hear it at the bottom of the pan starting to sound like it's going to boil, and it's barely got a couple of bubbles. I don't know if you can see that. So I'm going to go ahead and give it another stir. That's close enough to it starting to boil for me to go ahead and put the lid on it. I gave it another stir. I did sneeze from that pepper, like I said I was going to, but it was off camera, thank God. And I'm turning it down. And on mine, I have a gas stove. That's a low or a 1. That's what I turned it down to. And it'll go for 20 minutes and I'll show you the end result. Back to the rice. There's something I forgot to do. I usually add jalapeno juice to, I just mean jalapeno brine. I usually add it to, that was a lot of seeds. I don't usually add a lot of seeds, but this one's gonna be probably extra spicy. What was that? 4 or 5 spoons? I lost count. It was full to the top, so I put that much in there. And that's what I usually do, but I forgot to show you that on video. So that's the rest of the recipe, my bad. Okay, so the rice is done. My timer just went off to tell me that it's done, so I turned off the heat. I'm gonna take it off the heat, put it on the back burner, and I'm gonna leave it back there for about 10 minutes before I open it, and I'll show you what it looks like after it's been sitting there for about 10 minutes. So I said that I was gonna show you what the Mexican rice looks like after it's been 10 more minutes. 1, 2, 3. Voila! That is some perfectly cooked Mexican rice. I don't know if you can see it because of all the steam. That's what it looks like. Can't wait to eat that. I'm just gonna leave the lid back on it, put it back to the back of the stove until it's time to eat. Anyway, thank you for hanging out with me and learning how to make, or letting me show you how I make Mexican rice. And I will see you next time. Make every day a holiday. Bye.